When I say 3, 2, 1, I want you to jump.
I'm your host, Kelly Lundberg.
3, 2, 1. There we go.
He helps people go from feeling stuck to taking massive action.
I have been stuck so many times in my life. This idea of once I've got the checklist done, life is going to be fulfilling and it's going to be amazing. And I'm just going to absolutely love the rest of my days.
Andrew is a leadership and learning development consultant.
A lot of the times I work with leaders that can sometimes feel successful and achieved a lot, but unfulfilled.
Who's recently made a bold move by stepping up his personal brand.
They've got the house, they've got the kids, they've got the cars, they've got the holiday, and they're just sitting there feeling unfulfilled. What do I say to them? You have to get curious again.
It's okay to be work in progress.
Remember, there is never going to be a final version of you.
That's very empowering.
Yeah, it's now or never.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Kelly Lundberg Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Lundberg, and on today's guest, we have Andrew. Now, Andrew is a leadership and learning development consultant who's recently made a bold move, and he's been working with us at Brand New Creators by stepping up his personal brand in a big and bold way. But more importantly, Andrew has developed something which I absolutely love called the Jump Shift Framework, and he helps people go from feeling stuck to taking massive action. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe that I'm on your show.
I love it. I love it. And we actually know each other.
I know.
From the gym.
A little bit of context, yeah. I mean, like, I saw a LinkedIn post from you thinking, oh my word, she looks incredible. Love her post, love her content. So I'll go into your profile and I see, oh, we're already connected. And then I'm going, oh, but I see you in the gym.
Yeah.
And then the next day I saw you. I was like, Kelly!
Yeah. And I
Probably got a bit of a fright.
I love that because I always used to see you in the morning, and then it just goes to show that one piece of content that's shared and then goes, I actually don't know what you do. Wow, maybe there's something there that you can help me. So my first question is around what made you go now to work on your personal brand?
To be quite honest with you, I've been working on my personal brand for almost 11 years, but just I started or I rebranded or I do something different just because I want to, with no real intention of going further than maybe a logo and a title. And then it's always been something that I've wanted to do. Now, this year, things sort of changed slightly for me towards the beginning of the year, where I was chatting to my manager who I work with at Biz, and they were thinking of looking at, growing personal brands. It's something that we workshop as well. What would you do with your personal brand? So there was almost like a need for it. Yeah. So I thought, if they're going to be asking me about my personal brand, all I have is a logo and a name. So I'm not going to get very far, am I? So then I started the little adventure, and I called up a couple of connections and started the whole rebrand, but this time did a brand kit and built what should be done by one person managing their own brand, working a full-time job. And then, slowly but surely that evolved. And then I stumbled upon your live, which ended up being a one-on-one coaching session, which was amazing.
Yes. Yeah, it was so nice, and it worked out perfectly in that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, you were my perfect client in that sense of, because what I think is slightly different is you already work full-time in, I guess, the leadership and consultancy space. Yeah. However, you're also building your personal brand.
Exactly.
And I think there is a movement towards more people that do work in corporate working on their personal brands.
Exactly.
But that's because you've got the support of the company.
Yeah. And there's so much data and statistics around that, right? I mean, the number one, I think it's the number one position on LinkedIn is the global visibility expert, where just the data itself, people that want to work with a global visibility expert, companies that want to hire people that work for a company that are a global visibility expert. It's incredible what you bring into the bottom line and what you do for employee engagement as well. It compounds having a really good, powerful brand. And I say this to people all the time. I mean, I do a very intro workshop of personal branding as part of a Biz Group, but what we do in there and what I get people really excited about is it's just so much more than what you put on the internet, right? It's how you show up. It's how you present yourself. And I think from our cabin crew days, we know that it's just how you carry yourself 24/7 is your personal brand. And it's something that I have been really, really, really conscious of, is how I carry myself. So when I saw you in the gym, and I'd already sort of like had a picture of how you interact and how you engage, and I thought, that's definitely somebody I could align with while I go on this journey. And so here we are.
I love it. But there's something in this, and what I would say, it's how you make people feel.
Okay.
And one of the things, I actually did a reel about you a couple of months ago.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't actually explicitly say it was you.
Okay.
But,
wow.
yeah. But what I did say that there is one client that we're working with who makes my team feel incredible. And they get so excited when you email. And I did this whole reel and I thought, I won't mention names, but it was how you make them feel. And they're so invested in you. And the team are always invested in our clients, but there's another layer when the way that you show up and how that you engage, your energy, and they say that they feel it through your email, and then they get really happy when they get an email come through and they're like, Andrew's message us. and I think that is a true definition of your personal brand, is how you make someone feel.
Absolutely.
Not just what's kind of going out online.
But it's not just how you make someone feel, and this is where people get it wrong all the time, is I came to you to bottle up this energy, to bottle it up and help me market it and help me grow it, right? But how I make people feel is, my whole goal is I want you to feel better after I've engaged with you than what you did before. You might not have had a bad day, but your day's going to get even better now. But what I learned really, really early on, and this is where people get it wrong all the time, it's all the people behind the scenes that make it happen for you. So the production crew, I remember at an event where I was keynoting at the beginning of the year, massive event, 200 people, massive sound production team. I was the only one that went up to the production team afterwards and took a selfie with them and said, you guys rocked. The mic, the sound, everything was crystal clear. That goes a long way because they make or break your stage presence, right? Yeah. For example, another example just to throw in there is PAs, right? They are the chief of staff as far as I'm concerned, right? So why would you not want to be nice to them? Personal assistants to executive and things like that. So it's always the people behind the scenes that I always want to, hey, I see you.
That's very true.
You're doing great.
And sometimes people do it naturally, and other times it's a bit more of an effort.
Hey, you're doing amazing.
I just, funnily enough, I got a message on LinkedIn just this weekend from a photographer who I knew back in the day when you would go out to events 3 or 4 times a week in Dubai, and your Hello Magazine photographer would be there, the Grazia photographer, the Harper's Bazaar.
Sounds like my dream.
And I used to know them all, and I spoke to them all, and I would have a conversation with them, and I completely forgot in the sense of, wow, that was something that I did, but then they always remembered me, and then they would come and find me at the Dubai World Cup, and they'd be like, oh, Kelly, can we take a picture of you? And then it actually helped build my brand even more because of the relationship there.
Exactly.
So it's the
everything is relationship and
scenes.
reputation.
When you work with leaders that are high performing but find themselves stuck, what would you say is the kind of common pattern that kind of happens?
I think a lot of the leaders have this idea of, once I've got the checklist done, life is going to be fulfilling and it's going to be amazing and I'm just going to absolutely love the rest of my days. And that's not what happens. So a lot of the times I work with leaders that can sometimes feel successful and achieved a lot, but unfulfilled. So they're
missing
there,
something.
They're scrolling at 9 o'clock at night on Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever, just mindlessly scrolling. There's another post congratulating somebody on LinkedIn or another post selling something on Instagram. And they're just going, they've got the house, they've got the kids, they've got the cars, they've got their holidays, everything. And they're just sitting there feeling unfulfilled. And what do I say to them? The first part I say is just, you have to get curious again. It's all about getting curious and finding what makes you unique again. Because I think what a lot of leaders do is they subliminally train themselves on what they consume growing up and what they consume in their early years of leadership, that this is how a leader should be. This is what I need to present as when I'm leading and when I'm at home. This is how I need to present. So they take all of those constructs, they apply it to their lives, and then they realize, I've just been following someone else's avatar, not my own. So once I've built a relationship with a leader, the next thing or the next step is, right, let's encourage this curiosity, because the curiosity is going to be a place of, ooh, this feels uncomfortable, but I'm drawn to it. Or, ooh, no, this is not me at all. And we go through various questions. There's various mechanics that I put in there, but I just get people curious.
And would you say that's because that's been part of your journey, that
Absolutely.
you've looked at everything from a curiosity perspective?
100%. I did a Clifton Gallup Strengths Finder personality assessment many, many years ago, and I've done it subsequently since. And my number one strength is input, which is a blessing and a curse, because input basically says I will never feel like I have enough information. So I'll always want more information, but sometimes that might put me into analysis paralysis, for example, where I just won't move forward unless I feel like I have enough. So that then segues into the whole jump shift framework, because sometimes I have to interrupt that and I need to get moving, because sometimes, or most of the time in life, you're not going to have everything you need in order to take that first step, right? Or you're going to feel like you don't have everything you need to take that first step, but you do.
So let's take it back a little bit. What got you into the learning and development, and now this kind of speaker, personal brand?
Yep.
Where did it kind of come from?
I'll be completely honest with you. I wanted to be in a boy band when I was like younger, but I can't sing. I can't dance very well. So the only time I'm going to get in front of a camera and a microphone is in a podcast.
If you could have
on
picked a
stage.
boy band, what would it have been?
Do you know, people don't get this all the time, but I would say 98 Degrees. Like, I could be Nick Lachey. Like,
Okay.
yeah, totally.
I don't think I know who 98
You
Degrees
so
are.
know who that. Give me just one night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll totally know. I'll play it
I'm
for you
more New
afterwards.
Kids of the Block. I think, I think I might be slightly older than you are. Or NSYNC? NSYNC?
No, same time as NSYNC. Same time as NSYNC. He was married to Jessica Simpson.
Oh, okay.
Tuna of the Sea. So Chicken of the Sea, I think. Anyway, so I knew that I wanted to make people feel good, right? And feel better about themselves, because I've been surrounded by people that have made me feel better about themselves. And I don't know where I got the whole pay it forward feeling, but that's always something that I've carried with me and was only able to articulate a few years ago. Anyway, I got into flying. I thought I was going to be in aviation my entire life, right? I was happy to be in aviation. I loved it. I can watch commercial aircraft fly over every day and just sit and stare. Anyway, I became cabin crew, and I then spread my wings out, and I thought, I'm going to see what's out there, because I was flying for South African Airways. And as I proceeded to move to the Middle East in 2008, I started to realize, now, when you fly for a legacy carrier in other countries, like your Qantas, your BA, your American Airlines, you can do that for the rest of your life. But with the Middle East carriers, it's not something that you do for life. And you don't move here for life either, right? And when that started to sink in, not in an existential crisis sort of way, but when that started to sink in, I started to open my eyes around me and thought, there is so many possibilities outside of flying and outside of South Africa that it's incredible being here. And so I just started networking. I just started to get to know people. And that networking, fast forward, got me into a leadership trainer position in the airline that I was flying for. And I thought aviation sparked a fire within. When I stepped into the front of the room to talk about emotional intelligence, well, I could have burnt the building down. So I'm standing in front of the room and I'm taking leaders on a journey of real deepening their self-knowledge and self-awareness, and watching the penny drop in people's eyes and the way that they react when they realize something about themselves is probably the most rewarding feeling on this planet. And so we went through a bit of a restructure, and I was sent back flying full time, which I loved. But then I'd sparked this whole curiosity around learning and development. So then I moved into the hospitality industry, grew up to my last corporate position, which I was the corporate director of learning and development for the Rotana Hotel Group, and I was taking care of learning and development for 10,000 people across 70 business units, and loved the company. It taught me so much, but it wasn't the role for me, right? And that was a tough decision for me to make, because I love learning and development. And then I decided, okay, I want to get more out there, back onto the field with people, learning with them. And that's when I made the decision to move over to Biz. And then once I've settled in Biz, I take leadership. I take how people deploy leadership, how they embody being a leader. And I try and make it accessible for everybody that wants to be one.
How do you think your personal brand now connects with helping other people become unstuck?
Because I have been stuck so many times in my life, I cannot even begin to tell you. And when we say being stuck, I want to sort of reiterate over there that it's not just about being stuck in this massive, I'm drowning in this, or I'm overwhelmed. Being stuck could be, what are you making for dinner? It could be that simple, right? But we sometimes procrastinate on things, and we stick around on things because I don't feel like it, and the energy level's low. Or somebody like me who has ADHD, I just don't want to start, because once I get started, I know it's not going to finish, or once I get started, I'm going to get bored, or things like that. So I knew that I had to come up with something that spoke to me first, because I need to believe in whatever it is that I put out there. Just like the companies I've worked for and work for, I have to believe in their values and their culture in order for me to be an ambassador. So how that connects now to my personal brand and the whole getting unstuck is, it's all about owning that one moment, right? That you can create because you already have everything you need to start now. Right now, in this moment, no matter what it is that you want to do, you have everything that you need right in here. And before I started writing my book, which I'm still busy doing, but before I started writing that, I did massive research on the self-help industry. And there is one word that you will never hear me use, and that is transform. I will never promise to transform anything of yours because that's yours. That's you. You transform. I can help you get started. Not even help you. I can support you getting started because you're going to start on your own because you've got everything that you need, right? I'm getting so passionate here. I'm hitting the microphone. But you've got everything that you need. And that's where it stems from, is I constantly was looking outward. Oh, this is going to help. This is going to fix this. This is what's going to do it for me. It's here.
When was the aha moment for the jump shift framework then? Was it something visual? Because I'm massively into frameworks. I think frameworks are what sets your personal brand apart. Yours is very visual. The team's loved working on your branding to support you with that. But what was the aha for the jump shift framework?
The aha for the jump shift framework was actually when I co-authored a book in 2020 called Your Dose of Motivation. And it was 18 authors that got together and wrote their stories. And my aha moment was writing, and I was thinking of I'll be completely honest with you. My aha moment was the first time I stood up for myself, because I am a recovering people pleaser, right? I say recovering because it's a journey, and I stood up for myself in an environment where I normally would have not have. I would have kept quiet, and I would have been very respectful of authority and things like that. But the way that I was treated in a moment was absolutely humiliating. And I don't know what came over me, but I didn't physically jump in the moment, like I'm going to get you to jump in a moment. But I hit my feet against the floor. And as I hit my feet against the floor under my desk, I got up and I walked into this person's office, and I told them in a very professional way that the way that they had spoken to me in front of people was absolutely unacceptable, and I'll never accept that again. In the most professional way that I could possibly say that. But that was my aha moment. My jump shift framework got me to jump and stand up for myself. It's just owning that moment that you can create because you've got everything you already have inside.
Wow. So it's very visual. And I don't know, for those that are watching and listening are going, I could imagine that. Yeah. Okay, so before we break it down, what do I need to be thinking about something? What do you want me to do?
So I think, is there something that you have been maybe putting off? I'm putting you on the spot now. Something that you've been putting off.
Putting off. Okay, let's think about. Okay, something that I've been putting off. Let's think about business. Writing this book for teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah, DC the Lemon for teenagers. But I don't think it's going to be a book. I think it's going to be...
Is this an exclusive, by the way?
Yeah, well,
oh my God, yay!
But I'm thinking it's going to be video format. And then I'm like, maybe I should do a taster first and do 5 sessions and then do 7. But I'm launching other things. And so it's...
Yeah, you are launching other things. Yeah, you had a podcast masterclass the other day.
Yes. So now I'm like, do I do that? So it's kind
of...
Get up. Okay. So I won't be able to speak because there'll be no audio.
Exactly. So I'll speak for Kelly. I'll be her son. So there she goes. Click, click, clickety clack.
And I am in my...
She is in heels. Okay. So now when you jump, I'm going to 3, 2, 1 because I've got a framework for the 3, 2, 1 as well, but we won't get into that today. When I say 3, 2, 1, I want you to jump. Now you don't have to jump as high as you possibly can. That's not the point. But I want you to land as hard as you possibly can in your beautiful heels. Okay. As hard as you possibly think you can. On 3, 2, 1. There we go. And have a seat. Thank you very much. She's laughing for the sound effects. How do you feel?
Yeah, there was something about that felt quite triumphant. I don't know if that's the right word, but there was like the...
Yes, it's mine, right? And the whole thing, particularly when it comes to what you were talking about just before you jumped, was I'm not sure if I should do it this way, or maybe I should go this route, or maybe I should try this. Is confidence in any of your decisions is not going to come first, right? Movement comes first, confidence comes after that, right? And what is happening is the moment that you're moving, right, that 5% of the effort that went into that jump is going to give you about 60% of productivity straight afterwards. And this was studies from 2007 in procrastination and initiation of action, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So just from doing that jump, it can cause, if we weren't continuing the recording, you could probably go and maybe jot a couple of ideas down. Now, you're not going to get the answer in the jump. The jump's going to get you to move. And once you're moving, you're going to continue moving. Because if you think about it, right, when you're stuck in traffic and you're in a car, you use more petrol or gas, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, right? Whereas when you're cruising on a highway, you use less petrol because movement equals momentum, which is what the M stands for in jump. But what is happening right there in that moment is you're releasing endorphins. Endorphins make movement. Movement creates action. Action then creates confidence in your decisions.
Love it. I'm all for frameworks, but frameworks that make you.
Yes.
And frameworks that you have the story that comes
Exactly.
with. So let's break down the jump.
Sure.
You mentioned one of them,
Yes.
Movement. What are the rest?
So JUMP stands for Jolt Your Journey. Now, Jolt Your Journey is all about just getting that shock or having that event. A lot of the times, people that, when you want to do something big or you want to do something small, we need something that creates or sparks something or gives us a bias towards action, right? And that's what the jump is. It's your event. It's that jolt. It's like, okay, I'm here, I'm serious, I'm triumphant, I'm determined, was one of the words that you used as well, right? So that's what starts you off. Then unlearn in order to unlock. Certainty in everything that you think is one of your biggest mistakes and is going to be holding you back, right? I heard a quote one day saying, do not by any means believe everything that you think. And this is where people struggle the most, is you have to unlearn the ways that you've been doing things. Because if you keep doing things the same way over and over and expecting different results, what is that the definition of? Insanity.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert Einstein. So you have to unlearn in order to unlock. Now, when you unlearn, that's probably more so than actually getting up and moving is the hardest part. Because think about how long you've been doing things the way that you have been doing
and how
them.
ingrained it is, and then you feel that
Exactly.
you've got confirmation because of X, Y, and Z has
Precisely.
happened. Yeah.
Exactly. So remember when I said to you when you were standing here, it's not about how high you jump, it's about how hard you land. The harder you land, the science says the more endorphins will get released. So the harder you land, the easier it is to chip away at something that is ingrained for many, many years. So if you were thinking about doing something that, I've always been told it's this way, and I've always been told that I've lived my life this way, and I'm ingrained and I'm rooted in what I believe is right, and you jump hard and it hurts, right? Now, I'm not encouraging your listeners to go and jump and hurt themselves. Please do not do that, right? But once you do, the harder you jump or the harder you land, the more endorphins are released. So it's going to be a little bit more of a push, right? And then finally, movement equals momentum, which is what the M was. And that is, after you've jumped, you carry on moving. That 5% of effort that you've put into the jump is going to create 60% more productivity following that. I mean, why would you not want 60% more productivity?
Yeah.
It's a silly question. And then peak and persist is the P. Now, a lot of times people will set goals for themselves, and in the goals, they'll set milestones, which is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But we celebrate a milestone, and then we kind of get stuck in the celebration of a milestone because the celebration feels really good and we're not putting any work in because we're celebrating, right? So peak and persist is all about reach that peak, continue. You've got movement. You've celebrated a win. Use that energy, channel it into your next jump, and start again.
How long does this process take?
Oh, 3 seconds. Can take 3 seconds.
Okay.
You're jumping. The whole point is getting started.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Jolt is giving you that jolt. Unlearning, right. That endorphins elevates the mood slightly. So the unlearning is going to not just happen, but it's going to be a little bit easier to tap into, right? The movement equals momentum. You've started moving, carry on moving. This is all 5-6 seconds, right? Peak and persist. Maybe it's a small win, or maybe it's progress that you count as a win in the day from that jump.
So you're saying, okay, you're sitting down, you've planned out, and you're like, oh, these are the 3 projects I want to work on, but this one's kind of, I'm stuck in this project. Okay, go and go away, stand, jump,
Exactly.
come back, sit down, and it will have moved, the momentum will have moved you on,
Exactly.
and you can then write down some ideas or move
Exactly.
on with it.
If we had a little bit more of a space, what I would have done is I would have got you to jump, I would have got you to land really, really hard, and I would have got you to walk up to the opposite end of the room and write on a paper what it is, the decision that you've made on your first or your next step regarding the book, DC Dilemma for Teenagers.
Well, and funnily enough, when I sat down, I was like, right, stop overthinking it. Just go and do book the recording studio because I want to make it more the video based, and it really did kind of move on in that space.
Yay!
Okay, so are there any situations or different type of personalities where people would find it harder or they wouldn't do it? Like you've done this in settings. Like, what's the feedback that?
The whole thing is, and this is what people don't get really, is if I had to walk into a room and say jump, people go, excuse me? Who is this crazy man at the front of the room telling me to jump? Yeah. So it's all about the psychological safety that you build up to the jump, right? Okay. So I don't just walk into a room and say, all right, everybody, get off your seats and jump. You get a car, you get a car. I always get people, I warm people up. I tell them who I am. I explain to them what it is that they stand to achieve, because it's everything that they've wanted, right? Not everything that they've wanted, but it's the first step to everything that they've wanted. I'm not here to transform you. I'm not here to hold your hand. You can do it on your own, and you can build a support base of people around you. I'm here to get you started. Right.
Yeah. What's one of the first things that you think that people would come to you that they're stuck on?
Career.
Yeah. And how could they do that? What are some examples of them implementing that while you're doing a one-to-one session maybe?
Yeah.
And what would they then go and do?
So I would, if I was having a one-on-one session with a leader and we were talking about career, the first thing that I would do is I would map it out for them, because I have worked with many, many leaders that can tell you about their career history, but won't be able to map out their achievements because they haven't thought about that in a long time. Won't be able to map out some of the failures along the way because they haven't thought about that for a long time. And so I start to build that picture, and I start to see, right, where are the patterns coming in over here? Where are we continuously making the same decisions in order to, so I need to pull back a little bit here because I don't want to get too complex, but a lot of the times I see people being stuck because stuck is what they know. Stuck is familiar. Remember, your brain is the laziest organ in the entire body. It is constantly looking for shortcuts so that it can continue scanning your environment for danger. So in order for it to do that, it needs to create shortcuts. So it's created shortcuts for you in order for you to go, oh, right, I know this surrounding, I know this setting. And sometimes that setting is to your detriment. And I did a mapping for a leader that I was working with many, many years ago. And they were, I say leader / friend. And we were sitting across the table and I was doing a mapping of their career for them. And I said, it's just hit me now that I've mapped it. I've known you for years, but it's just hit me. This leader tended to be every 2 or 3 years finding themselves looking for another job, right? Which is not bad in today's day and age because your average tenure is about 4 years now, or probably less. But they constantly found themselves in this position. And then it hit me. Familiar to you is not having a job or being between jobs. So you behave in such a way in order to fulfill that cycle to bring you back to familiarity because your brain feels comfortable there. So that's where I go in and I go, right, that's where you need to jump out of.
Yeah.
Up, not out the window, please. So yeah, and then with the sort of to wrap that up really nicely is I'll start with that career mapping and then I'll see what is the real place we need to jump from, right? Where are we jumping and what are we moving towards? Because in a workshop setting, in a one-on-one setting, when I get people to jump, we're looking at jump ratio, we're looking at stuck ratio, and I'm also getting you to continue moving based on the proximity of the room to another point in the room to go and move towards that one step that you need to take, which we would have already predefined.
And what about if they were entrepreneurs? I mean, I work a lot in that space, and there's this, they're scared to put themselves out there, their personal brand, fear of judgment. How could someone use it in that space?
I was petrified putting my new brand out there because it was the first time I'm putting my brand out there with my full name.
Yes.
I've always had like leading with Andrew on, things like that. It's never been Andrew Wallater, right? And I was petrified leading up to this. Well, today actually, I've been absolutely scared. And I was talking to my therapist about it, and she said, "What are you scared about?" And I was like, "It's not so much the judgment; it's more so the people pleaser in me." And I've identified this: the recovering people pleaser in me, and the wanting to want people to feel good when they come to the page, then to see the trolls. And the people that may ridicule the jump shift framework as being too simple, things like that, right? I've thought of so many different scenarios in my head. I'm not putting it out into the universe to attract it, but that was what petrified, because I was bullied in school. So I know what that feels like. I've been bullied online as well, twice actually, and it's not a great feeling. And that's what I was petrified of, because I can't take, it's not that I want to take people on, but I can't show you how good this really is, because you don't want to hear it. And that's what I was really scared of until this morning. I woke up this morning and I found this incredible calm, because I was overthinking things yesterday. And yesterday it probably got, because I was like, okay, it's happening tomorrow, it's happening tomorrow, it's happening tomorrow, it's happening tomorrow. And then I literally, I did like a little mini jump just to like remind myself, right? Mini jump, and then carried on moving to the kitchen. And I got to the kitchen and I was like, it's now or never. It's now or never. And it's also, particularly with entrepreneurs, it's not all in your control. You've got to let go sometimes. And I think that's the scariest part for entrepreneurs, because it's your income, it's your lifestyle, it's everything that a lot of the times I see in entrepreneurs is what they've based their self-worth on is their business. But you can't control it all. And I think that's what I was experiencing last night, was I can't control what people think. So I need to jump and snap out of it and take action anyway. Because I think it's fear. What is it? Fear everything and run, or face everything and rise is the acronym for fear.
They both work. But they also say fear is just a different way of you feeling excited. It's just packaged.
Do you know why they say that
different.
though? No, do you know why they say that? Because the physiological symptoms of fear and excitement are the same.
Yeah.
Elevated heart rate, jittery.
Labeling them differently.
You're just labeling them differently, yeah.
How would you get someone to embrace this if they were wanting to wait for perfection and go, but I want to wait for this to be right before I go and jump? Because that's another thing I also hear in the sort of personal brand and business spaces. But I'm going to do this slowly. I want to wait. And then I'm very impatient and I'm like, but you could be helping so many people. Why wait? What would be your advice to someone who's waiting?
I think that's quite a complex answer, and I'm going to give it my best, okay? I think the universe's timing is perfect. But if you're sitting back and not taking any action and nothing is happening around you, then I think maybe you just don't want this to happen, right? Now, because I'm that perfectionist. Well, I can't say recovering in everything, okay? But I'm going to say recovering perfectionist here as well.
You've done a lot of work on yourself, and I think you've reflected going, I was this person and I was this person. So it's fair to say.
Do you know what it is? And this is what I'll say to the perfectionists out there. Stop, turn around, and look behind you. And I say look behind you is look how many times you've got it wrong, but you've managed to pull it together at the end. And I look at my beautiful branding that I now have, and I think to myself, I would never have gotten to today had I not taken the first steps that I did when I started. If I had to show you my logo from 11 years ago that I designed myself on some software that probably gave my computer a virus back in the day, you would laugh. But I did it. And I look back at it now and I'm not embarrassed by it. And that's got me to where I am today. When I started my YouTube channel, I had no idea what I was going to do, right? I started it, and then next thing I knew, I made 45 videos, right? Little 2-minute videos before anybody was doing YouTube videos and subtitles and captions and all of these things that we have. I sound like a grandpa, but all of these really easy tools and editing tools that we have on phones.
Yeah.
It's just turn around and look back and realize that you have put stuff out there that hasn't been perfect and you've made it through. You're still here, you're still standing, you're still breathing, right? And the next thing I would say to you is, remember, there is never going to be a final version of you.
Oh, that's gold.
There is never, you will never be a final version to be packaged and handed over like a Barbie in a box, right? It's just never going to happen. And with that brought me so much comfort. And then the final thing, the final little note that I'll leave with that is, get it out there, then make it pretty.
And that's the big piece, I think, with branding and putting yourself out there, is that it's okay to be work in progress.
Yeah.
I loved what you said, that you'll never have the final version, because that's very empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. But in saying that, and there's the caveat here, is because I was getting uneasy with me not posting too much on social media, because I've partnered with you and I've partnered with a social media management company, and I was wondering, I feel like I'm not doing anything, because remember, as leaders and as entrepreneurs and people with personal brands, we equate productivity to success, right? So I'm sitting going, I just need to wait, But I knew that things were happening behind the scenes. So like your team was working on my branding. I had the social media management company working on studying my social media and things like that. So things were happening. That's the caveat here, right? But if nothing was happening, and I was just going, my personal brand's going to take off one day, and just hoping, then I wouldn't be here today.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received about taking bold action?
The actual boldness of the action. Yeah. I know that sounds so not redundant, but like rhetorical. It's people. I don't challenge to purposely disrupt. I challenge because I'm curious. And when I challenge somebody, it's usually quite bold, and I can sense when there are voices in the room that are too scared to speak up. And that's usually the time where I will make I will boldly challenge what is being fed to me, or what is being said, or what is being implemented, and things like that. And that's generally what I get. People have come up to me afterwards and said, I would never have had the guts to say that. And it's not about boasting or being arrogant or things like that. It's just, I can see it. I can see voices. No, it's not the Sixth Sense movie. I can see when voices are silencing themselves, and it kills me.
How then has working on your personal brand shaped you as a consultant? Because you still have this other part of you.
Absolutely. So I think the whole personal brand thing is all about my keynote speaking, right? Keynote speaking and leadership consulting. And that's the big thing that I absolutely love, because I've seen wonderful and incredible speakers on stage. And there's a few that come to mind that I just think I was hanging on this person's every word. And what they were able to condense into 90 minutes was incredible. But I also love training. I absolutely love it. So my whole keynote speaking thing is what my personal brand is around.
Yeah.
But the other parts of my work and how that shaped my training, my facilitation, my coaching, and things like that as part of Biz Group is the refinement. So being a keynote speaker, also building my personal brand and being refined in that, and being proud to put something out there, has carried over into my role in Biz Group, where when I'm carrying the Biz Group name and I'm stepping into a business as a senior consultant for Biz Group, I'm incredibly proud and I'm incredibly refined.
I love that. What's next then? So we've got the big launch.
Yes.
The book.
Yes, the book will come out hopefully next year. So a couple of things that we're just aligning. We've got the book, more podcasts are coming up, being published in a bit of learning and development research, and lots of speaking gigs coming up as part of Biz Group, as part of my personal brand. Just really exciting things. GenAI is forming a massive part of what I do, and it is actually forming part of one of the titles of my keynotes, which is the psychology of unstoppable confidence in a world full of GenAI. Because a lot of people can use GenAI now. People have a way with ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or whatever it is that they're using. But how are you showing that you can use it confidently, and how are you adding your uniqueness to it? So that's one of the things I'm working on at the moment.
So when I ChatGPT'd you, interestingly, it came up, because I always love to ChatGPT people before they come on, because sometimes it's not accurate.
Yes.
And sometimes it just pulls one thing from like 10 years
Exactly.
ago. But it did actually come up that you were in the learning development consultant who has experience in AI. And I
Wow.
thought that was interesting. Have you written an article, or have you done something on that? Because I think it's
I have. So with Biz Group, we have developed a number of workshops around generative AI, and I have actually written one of the facilitators guides for one of the workshops, and I'm working closely with the teams, because the work that we're doing with generative AI as part of Biz Group is incredible. So it's not so much, I do have experience in AI. I'm very competent in generative AI. It's not so much what I've done with it, it's what we're doing as a company at Biz Group.
Well, that's a good starting point if it's also where you want to go more into, because your personal brand is, yes, for now, but it's also how do you position the future version of you and upskill or build into that as well.
Exactly.
So,
Premortem. Have you ever done a premortem?
no, what is this?
So it was actually an activity that I did, and probably something that people can walk away with. But premortem 10 years from now. Yeah. So we did it as an activity in learning and development where we said to a bunch of learning and development leaders at a conference, in 5 years from now, we gave them pillars, a social, economic and environment pillars. In 5 years from now, your jobs are null and void. What happened? So you're not doing a post-mortem after it happened, you're doing a pre-mortem. And the way that you get people's mindsets to change, because now they're thinking, what is it that's going to take my job away, right? They go, now all of a sudden I can prepare for it. That's the biggest sort of advice that I would give when it comes to where is Gen AI going and how are people adopting it and things like that. It's pre-mortem it.
Love it. So how can people find more about you, your brand, your keynotes, what you're all up to?
Amazing. So there's a couple of ways. They can follow me on Instagram, which I'm pretty sure will go into the show notes, on LinkedIn as well. I'm busy building the social media pages on Facebook and things like that, but they're there, so they can go and follow. And then obviously on Biz Group's website, which is learningwithbiz.com.
Thank you so much for your time. I've loved it.
It's such a pleasure. We're done already. Oh my God. I was only getting started. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.